Hello again, this is AZC2. Today I'm going to talk about the recent accident in Singapore's Chinatown, in which a 6-year-old girl from Indonesia was killed in a fatal accident while crossing the road with her parents and her younger sibling. The girl's mother was also injured and the woman remains in intensive care in hospital. Her father is visibly shaken and obviously traumatized by what happened. The driver of the vehicle was a lady who appeared to be of Indian origin, and there's a viral video clip of her berating the victims of the accident. The case is currently before the police, and until it goes to court, I suggest we all should avoid speculating too much. But anyway, the woman's Indian appearance had sparked a wave of xenophobic troll comments on social media in Singapore. Like, most people were saying that she must be a recent immigrant from India, and they talked about how the Indian caste system treats its subjects, and that some lives are worth more than others under the caste system. Many people wanted to see the driver deported immediately, and they keep making references to a free trade agreement signed between Singapore and India, which is better known by its initials CECA or CECA. Like many retrenched professionals whose jobs have been taken up by Indian nationals have been resentful of the South Asian presence in Singapore. Never mind the opposition leader, the man formerly known as the opposition leader, Pritam Singh himself, is of Indian origin. Or that President Tharman Shanmugaratnam himself is a Tamil. Anti-Indian racism isn't just unique to Singapore. It also happens in Australia. There have been cases of truck drivers of Indian origin getting into accidents and their qualifications being openly called into question. And there have also been memes created around that. Now, the driver in the fatal Chinatown crash also had her qualifications questioned in a similar way. Like, people were asking, how did she get her license? Did she bribe the examiner to give it to her? Yes, she was careless, and that resulted in a life being taken away far too soon. But people were using the incident to bash South Asians as a whole. Meanwhile, the police have announced that a suspect has been charged but her identity has been redacted. This is reminiscent of the incident in Liverpool where 3 people were stabbed, including 2 young girls. The suspect's identity was not publicly revealed, but a birth certificate purportedly showing him to be an immigrant from a Muslim country started making its rounds. This resulted in a huge wave of anti-immigrant sentiment and attacks against asylum seekers and the storming of accommodation blocks housing such people. As such, the magistrate had no choice but to reveal the identity of the suspect. He was born in the United Kingdom to parents who had come from Rwanda, and he wasn't even a Muslim, although they found him in possession of materials that were obviously taken from Islamist terrorist websites. The way that fake news spread so quickly and inflamed the hearts of so many people is something that the Singapore authorities take seriously. They are no stranger to this. The Nadra riots in the 1950s, they came about because a Dutch girl who had been adopted by a Malay family during the Second World War was to be returned to her biological parents by order of the courts. The courts at that time were controlled by British people, and the British were seen as favouring fellow Europeans. It wasn't just the Malays who were upset. The local Chinese and Indian population also felt that they were being treated as second-class citizens by the colonial occupiers from Europe. So apparently a rumor went around that was picked up by the media that Nadra, also known as Maria Hertov, was seen clutching a rosary at a convent where she was placed until the courts decided on which parents she should follow. The Malays were outraged that someone brought up in their religion and culture would be seen praying the rosary like a Catholic. And they stormed the convent and all the public buildings housing British colonial administration officers and burned them all down. This incident struck a deep chord in a certain Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, who decided that the media has to be, controlled fully by the state and only be a mouthpiece for what his party and by extension his immediate family says. The thing is, xenophobia is inevitable in every multicultural society. It's just how well you manage it. Yes, I believe more should be done to stop temperatures from rising, to stop people from letting their emotion carry them away. Whenever a tragedy like what happened in Chinatown happens, because it could have unintended consequences. But while we are cracking down on hate speech, we need to remember why are people engaging in it. We need to try and understand their motives. And we also need to make sure we don't come off as enemies of freedom, like communists. Because Singapore under PAP is effectively a communist state. As you know, they made it impossible for us to speak our minds, for us to reveal what's troubling us without being labeled an enemy of the state. So yeah, I urge some form of restraint when commenting on the Chinatown accident. But yes, we must let the police do their job. But the decision to suppress the suspect's identity itself makes me smell a rat. But then again, who am I to question the decision? We should all just wait and see what happens. And keep a cool head until then. Rest in power, Shayna. You were taken from us too soon. Hopefully justice gets served the proper way. Until then, bye for now.